Today's lesson is the body, the muscular system, and the skeletal system. Outline: cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, skeletal system, and the muscle system. The body. Anatomy is the science that studies the shapes and structures of living organisms and their parts. Human anatomy is the study of the shapes and structures of the body and its parts. And gross anatomy is large macroscopic structures that can be observed by the naked eye. Microscopic anatomy is structures that can only be seen with the use of a microscope. Physiology is the science that deals with the function of the living organisms and their parts, and human physiology is the study of the function of the human body and its parts. Now, collection of small living units are called cells, and similar cells make up tissues, and tissues combine to make up organs, and organs combine to make up systems. So as we see in our little picture here, we have our cell, which turns into tissues. The tissue gives us organs, the organs gives us system, and that creates us the organism. Again, cells, tissue, organs, organ systems, and the organism. So everything starts off with that cell. Body is broken down into 4 levels. We said cellular. Smallest units of living organism include cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus, and varies in size, shape, function, and depending on the responsibility. Tissues are formed from similar cells. Textures are woven together and held together by intercellular matrix, which is a type of glue. 4 main types of tissues, including epithelial, which is skin, connective, cartilage, bone, muscles, of course, muscles, and nerves tissue. Organs. Organs, different tissues make up organs. Organs include stomach, liver, brain, heart, lungs, skin, and kidneys. And systems are a group of organs to perform an overall function. And systems include the skeletal, muscle, nervous, endocrine, digestive, respiratory, lymphatic, reproductive, circulatory, excretory, and secretory. A total of 11 systems. Now the skeletal system. The human skeleton consists of both fused and individual bones, supported and supplemented by ligaments, tendons, muscles, and cartilage. It serves as a scaffold which supports organs, anchors muscles, and protects organs such as the brain, lungs, and heart. And there are approximately 206 bones in the body. Now, ligaments are connective tissue or bands of tissue that hold bones to bones. Tendons are connective tissue that hold muscle to bones. And cartilage is we find cartilage on the nose and covering the joints. That's that white soft tissue that gives the nose, the tip of our nose, the bend, also your ears. Now, the body, it also gives us shape. The bones protects the delicate organs like your heart, your lungs. It manufactures your blood cells, so both your red blood cells are produced in the bone marrow. Stores mineral salts, stores calcium, and ossification is a process of cartilage being replaced by mature bones. Long bone is continuing to develop and grow until approximately 15 years of age. So until you're 15, your bones are constantly being growing. Main reference cavity. We have the ventral cavity, contains the internal organs to maintain basic life, which includes the heart, lungs, and kidney, and the stomach. The dorsal cavity contains the brain, the spinal cord, and long bones made up of compact bone, dense and strong, and cancellous or sponge spongy type appearance. The cancellous tissue contains the red bone marrow where the red blood cells are manufactured. What is bone marrow? Hematophoiesis, which is the formation of red blood cells when white blood cells and platelets. Now, adults contain marrow in the cancellous tissue of the ribs, vertebrae, sternum, and pelvic region. The femur, the humerus are also bone marrow that decreases as we age. Now, red cells are called erythrocytes, the red blood cells. White blood cells are called leukocytes, and yellow bone marrow consists of fat cells and is located in the central shaft of the bones and replaces red bone marrow with age. Production of red cells is less active at this stage, so in the yellow bone marrow. Structure and function of the bones are made up of two parts. We've got the axial skeletal, which is your skull, your spinal column, your sternum, and your ribs. And you've got your appendicular skeleton, which is your shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, wrists, hands, pelvic girdle, your thigh, femur, lower leg, knee, cap, and ankle bones of the feet. Cartilage, we said, is firm rubbery tissue that cushions bones at joints. A more flexible kind of cartilage connects muscles with bone and makes up the part of the body such as the larynx and the outside part of your ears. Ligaments are a tough elastic band of connective tissue that connects various structures such as two bones. So ligaments connect bones to bones. And joints are classified into three categories: fibrous, which are movable or fixed joints as fused together like your skull; cartilaginous allows limited movement including the vertebrae column; synovial, free moving parts; and synovial fluid is lining of the joint capsule keeping them lubricated, providing movement without friction. So it's the actual synovial fluid that is in between the joints which helps to lubricate them and keep them moving. And that's why as we get older, or if we're lacking, if we're getting our arthritis, these fluids tend to decrease. Now, calcium, 99% of total calcium is in solid deposits of calcium phosphate, and they're found in the bone tissue. The rest is dissolved in the blood plasma and other fluids and provides strength to the bones. Supplies essential needs during periods of demand in the body, for example, pregnancy. And the dissolved calcium provides proper function for the nerve cells and muscle cells, and excess or lack of can cause abnormalities. Now, the amount of calcium is regulated by the deposition or absorption and reabsorption, and the parathyroid gland releases messengers to regulate this process when needed. Your parathyroid is next to your thyroid, just on the base of your neck behind your throat, actually in front of your throat. Here we have the human skeleton, and we're starting off with obviously the skull. The clavicle is your collarbone. It's the bone that's just on top at the base of your neck. Your sternum is the in between your ribs. Humerus is the largest bone of your arms. It's the top bone of the arms. Your vertebrae column is your spine. Your radius is the bone of your lower arm that goes to the thumb side. And your ulna is the bone that goes to the pinky side on your lower arm. Your carpals are your wrist bones, and your metacarpals are the bones on the top of your hand, and your phalanges are your fingers. Then you have your femur, which is the largest bone in the body, and you got your patella, which is your kneecap, tibia, the large bone of the lower leg, which on the side of the big toe, and your fibula, larger bone on the pinky side of the lower leg. You've got your tarsals, which are your ankle bones, your phalanges, which are your toes, and your metatarsals, which are the bones on the top of your foot. Your scapula is the shoulder blade, the back. You got, this is your ilium, your ischium, and your pubis bone, and your pelvic girdle, the two big, I guess, parts of your hip. The muscular system. Myology is the specialized study of muscles and muscle tissue. The muscle system myology consists of the skeletal muscles that act and contract to move or position parts of the body. Example, bones that articulate at joints. And then we have smooth muscles, which are found in our organs, like our stomach, our glands. Our intestines. Cardiac muscle that propels, expels, or controls the flow of fluids and contained substances, usually to the heart. It is the heart. Okay, and striated. So 3 types of muscles. We've got striated. Striated muscles is a form of fibers that are combined into parallel fibers. The muscles are longer and slender, and due to the striped appearance of these muscles, they have multiple nuclei, so multiple nucleuses. The threads of these muscles are held together by connective tissue, and due to the location, they can also be referred to as skeletal muscles. Striated muscles are voluntary and are controlled by the individual. And non-striated smooth muscle cells appear in various shapes and are also called fibers. Unlike the striated muscles, the non-striated muscles only contain one nuclei in the cells, and smooth muscle is a major part of the skin and also the internal linings of the organs. Now, controlling movement. The control is held with the autonomic parts of the nervous system. So in this respect, your stomach is relying on your nervous system, the autonomic part of your nervous system, in order to digest. Your heart or your glands are released because of the autonomic system. It's not like your striated where we control what we want to move. Cardiac is a muscle, a type of involuntary striated muscle found in your heart. So these are the muscles. Skeletal muscles have multiple nuclei and are striated. These are the cardiac muscles. It's both striated but involuntary, and this is how a smooth muscle looks like, which would be found, like, for example, in your stomach. Now remember, skeletal muscles or striated muscles are on the bones. Those are your skeletal muscles. Smooth muscles has a spinal shape, non-striated, and unnucleated fibers, occurs in the walls of the internal organs and is involuntary, so we do not control these. Cardiac muscle has striated branches and unnucleated fibers, occurs in walls of the heart, and is involuntary. Again, we do not control this. Now, skeletal muscles have striated tubulars. They're more tubes, and they have multiple nucleus, and it is usually attached to the skeleton, and it is voluntary, so you can control your muscles on your body. Origin and insertion of the muscle is the origin of a muscle is the point of which it attaches to a bone, usually, or another muscle, and the structures that the origin is attached to is not moved by the contraction of the muscle. So the opposite end of the muscle is called insertion. The definition means that there is a fractional aspect to the definition of a muscle's origin and insertion. Both origin and insertion are important for understanding the physiological function of the muscles. Again, 3 parts. Origin, does not move, attaches to the skeleton, and part of the skeletal system. Skeletal muscles. Insertion are the movable attachments to the skeleton, and then the belly is the middle part of the muscle. Here we have it, the frontalis, which is the muscle of your forehead, trapezius, the neck, front and neck of the neck muscles. Your deltoid, the muscle of your upper arm. Your pectoral is your breast muscle. Tricep is the little muscle on the back of your arms. And then your bicep brachii is the muscle in front of your forearm. Latissimus dorsis is the big muscle of your back. Abdominal muscles is the muscles of your stomach. They call them the six-pack, and actually it's more than six. And then you have your gluteus maximus, which is your buttocks or your bum. Your sartorius, the muscle of the inner thigh. Bicep femoris is the muscle in the back of the upper thigh. The rectus femoris is the muscle in the front of the thigh that attaches off the knee here. And you've got your gastrocnemius, which is the calf muscle. And your Achilles tendon, which is the tendon that joins the muscles down to the foot. Now, stimulation of muscles through chemicals. Chemicals can be different acids or Epsom salts, which help to release the lactic acid. Massage stimulates muscles as well as electrical currents. So we can put different currents on the tissue and we can contract them or stimulate the muscles. Light rays, different lights like LEDs can stimulate the muscles. Heat rays as well. Heat relaxes the muscles. We got moist heat, so saunas or warm baths. Nerve impulses are like by putting like Dr. Ho or these TENS devices where we attach to the skin and add electrical pulses so you see the muscle contracting. Okay, now review. How many bones in the human body? Okay, and name 5 benefits of the skeletal system, and what is the study of muscles called? Can you please answer these as well with your review questions that I have sent you? Thank you.